Kia ora! Welcome to our channel. I'm Hannah Hart.
I'm Nick Hart.
And we met in film school, in high school. It was just film classes,
Many
really.
moons ago.
Many moons ago. We've kept in touch over the years and now we're all like entangled.
Yeah.
Of course, we still love film and we're actually in a band together called Moida Mother. So you'll see that on our
You
other
heard that right,
playlist.
that's Moida.
Moida! Because we love film. So if you're at all familiar with Heavenly Creatures, which you should be, yeah, that's a term from the diary of Paulette Hume, who wrote about moidering mother. So yeah, we're total film nerds, I guess, considering our band's Moida Mother. And Video Drones is the name of our YouTube channel. And if you know anything about Cronenberg, you know where that comes from. Our favourite genres tend to be 100% horror. And then sci-fi, like a little bit of Western,
Thrillers, psychosexual thrillers,
stuff.
90s erotic thrillers.
Yeah, they're great. There's nothing like them. They're just, there's a particular aesthetic. But we thought we better do Power of the Dog because we're Kiwis. And Jane Campion is a Kiwi and it was shot in New Zealand and it doesn't actually have many Kiwi actors though, if any. I mean, there might be some spring. Oh,
Well, she's living in Australia,
Yeah.
so she gets all these Australian actors like Smit-McPhee is in the movie.
Yeah, he's Australian. Yeah, he's great. And there was that girl who was an old and
Yeah.
I can't remember her name. But she had that funny hat on.
Yeah,
She's a Kiwi.
Yeah.
She's got a little tiny...
Thomasin McKenzie.
Yes, Thomasin McKenzie with a little mouth.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
she's
she was
in
in Last Night in Soho
Yeah.
as well.
She's really
in
blowing up.
She's in lots of things, good things.
Yeah, she's great. You know, got some good talent there.
Keep your eye on her.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's great and old.
Hmm.
And so I guess sort of an intro to the film. Well, if you haven't seen it, it's got sort of four main characters. We've got two brothers and a mother and a son. We've got Phil and George Burbank, who are played by
Benedict Cumberbatch and Jesse Plemons.
Jesse Plemons. He's like not even like
Not one of your faves.
No, he's not even like a nice cool glass of water. He's like a tepid glass of water. I don't get him. I thought he was quite interesting the first time I saw him in Breaking Bad.
He can be a bit unmemorable.
Just a little bit. Yeah, well,
but he's been in some really good films. He was in The Master.
Yeah.
He was in Vice by the guy who directed Don't Look Up recently. He was in The Irishman with Scorsese.
Yeah, what
so
the heck?
he's been in lots of films by Scott Cooper. Antlers. He's very forgettable in that.
He's so forgettable in Antlers. That is a great film. We're like, who was he? What? He wasn't there. Apparently.
And he was also in Hostiles and Black Mass by the same director. He was in I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
Oh, which was really disappointing.
It was a little bit. It was
really
Charlie Kaufman's, you know, always really good, usually.
Usually, my children were really looking forward to it. They're 18 and 20 and they love his works, but we were all a bit disappointed with that one, unfortunately. But yeah, once again, he was quite unremarkable in that. He's
going to be in an upcoming Scorsese film called Killers of the Flower Moon as well.
How does he get these roles? It's just like...
Well, I mean, maybe they need... these sort of unremarkable, sort of forgettable actors to bring out the more powerful actors. Maybe it's I don't know, but he's been nominated for an Academy Award, so that's kind of weird.
That's very odd choice.
But he's in the same category as Smit-McPhee, which means hopefully Smit-McPhee will win.
He better. I mean, here's the best part of the movie. Oh, well, the score.
Yeah.
So the score, the cinematography, and Cody's performance were kind of all pretty up there.
Those are the things you take away from the movie, in my opinion.
It was quite dull when Cody had gone away, or Peter's character had sort of gone away to study. Got a little bit dull there.
Yep.
And we've got Kirsten Dunst, who I also thought was a bit meh in this. Sorry, I loved your Melancholia, Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah, she's been in some great films.
She's been in some great stuff.
The Virgin Suicides. Which Jane Campion was a huge fan of, and even wrote Kirsten Dunst a letter to say, I want to work with you. When she was 21, she received a letter from Jane Campion, who'd won the Academy Award for the piano. So she was a big deal. Yeah,
so I mean, she's great usually, but I don't know, I just didn't find her very... anything much, and she was also Oscar nominated, so okay.
I don't know, she's playing an alcoholic, and those sort of roles usually get Oscar nominated. Yawn.
That's so, yeah, we have our issues with the Oscars.
Yeah, I mean, here we are talking about them a lot, but really they don't matter much.
It's sad.
There's so many great films that don't even get looked at.
Yeah, like the time when Ellen Burstyn didn't win for Requiem for a Dream and Julia Roberts did, and to this day I still fume about that. It's ridiculous. But I mean, it's a shame because if you win an Oscar, it gives you a lot of like, I don't know, like kudos.
Yeah, and you get, I mean, the best thing probably about winning an Oscar is that lots of other directors are aware of you and they kind of seek you out based on that win. But I mean, I don't know.
Such a shame, really. Paul Dano could have replaced Jesse Plemons.
Well, he was going to, yeah.
Wouldn't that have been amazing? Paul Dano, I mean, he's like so good.
Elizabeth Moss was also going to originally play Kirsten Dunst's character, but yeah, you don't like
her either. I think she's really unremarkable and overused, and I don't get why she's such a big deal.
She's a Scientologist as well,
that too, yeah.
So maybe that's why she's getting all these roles.
Maybe.
Isn't that what you said? I didn't know this. But
yeah, no, she's a Scientologist, so probably.
Don't they, like you said, that they get more roles or something?
They
have
do.
more
They've got
power
this
in Hollywood.
In Hollywood, you kind of want to be a Scientologist if you want to get anywhere.
Really?
It's really messed up. Well, that's the theory, and it seems to be proving true if Elizabeth Moss has anything to do with it. Yeah, not a fan. Another insipid glass of bland water, like just not even a little squeeze of lemon. It's just no ice. Just I don't get these choices. But I am gutted about Paul Dano not being in it. I think, or Dano. Sorry.
Well, I'm probably saying it incorrectly.
But yeah, he's fantastic, and he's actually the funny connection there is the There Will Be Blood connection with Paul Dano. The
film seems like it really is quite reminiscent of There Will Be Blood in a lot of ways, especially the soundtrack, which was composed by Johnny Greenwood. Who did There Will Be Blood and wasn't Oscar nominated for that.
What are you up to, Oscars?
This year he finally is, so that's really exciting.
Yeah, we did see a lot of parallels with There Will Be Blood, which is an infinitely superior film, in my opinion, because we've got Benedict Cumberbatch kind of trying really, really hard.
When I first watched this film, I just thought he was kind of copying Daniel Day-Lewis, his performance in There Will Be Blood. But I don't know, it is more nuanced than that. He just it's just the anger of Daniel Plainview and seething kind of. Yeah, I mean Daniel Plainview wasn't a cowboy, so there's differences there, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about the casting with that. I mean, it was okay. I did not like the film at all on the first viewing. I liked some aspects. The second viewing, I liked it more, but I still, yeah, it was a shame.
I liked it more the second time, and everyone I've talked to liked it more the second time they saw it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's a good thing. I guess if you've got the patience to sit through it again.
Yeah,
that's always a bit tricky. But well, there's been some, someone, Sam Elliott, kind of had a little bit of a go about the film not being shot in Montana. It was shot in New Zealand, but COVID was going on, so
exactly, and that's. I mean, I was just reading something before that sort of said, that films traditionally aren't shot where where they're set.
They're not.
Well, some of them are, but that's the magic of cinema, really. That it's like the new Batman film was shot in Scotland, for example, and it's set in Gotham City.
Well, there you go. Well, Sam Elliott should know that.
Exactly. I mean, he's an actor with over 100 credits.
Yeah, you think you'd know that.
He's just a grumpy old has-been. It's true.
Love it. But we'll say some more about him later. But so I'm fairly familiar with the turf of Otago. It's very dry. It's very barren. They chopped down all the trees. That's just what happened when early settlers came here. And it's a pretty unremarkable environment, but it is kind of starkly beautiful. They make amazing Pinot Noirs there. I mean, I thought the background was, I had no trouble with the setting. I thought it was, quite beautiful. No. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's not particularly. I don't know
Montana, but yeah.
We don't know. I haven't been there, unfortunately.
I'm sure it looks close enough to it. It wouldn't be nominated for an Academy Award if the Americans wouldn't award something with that kind of glaring difference.
No, I suppose they wouldn't, would they? So yeah, I thought it was a good choice. I mean, it's quite beautiful, the way that it's been filled by Ari Wegner. Wegner. Oh boy, no, gee,
she's a great cinematographer.
Wow.
She did In Fabric,
which is, I hope you've all seen In Fabric, because it has such an amazing film. It really sticks with you. There's certain scenes in there I just can't shake, and it's just delicious.
She also did Justin Kurzel's True History of the Kelly Gang. And Zola, which is really good. Has a great score by Mika Levy. She's done some really good things anyway. She also did Lady Macbeth, which I haven't seen, but I've heard great things about. Yeah,
she's amazing, and she's been Oscar nominated, so that's good. Bloody good. I hope she wins. I hope she creams it.
She'll be the first ever female cinematographer to win an Academy Award, if she does win.
Isn't that crazy? 2022, yeah. Well, if we're going to talk about the cinematography, we're going to have to talk about the sound design and the soundtrack by Jonny Greenwood. Oh my goodness, he's so horribly underrated and underestimated. I think people maybe still associate it with Radiohead, but that's just nothing compared to what he does. And we thought that was the best part of the film. It's the music that really makes this film tip over the edge from being something that's it's okay. It's got some good performances, but boy,
his scores always do that. I mean, they're such. They almost overshadow the films they're in. I mean, just imagine that film without his score.
I would have really just been like, nah. I probably would have not really struggled to finish it.
I mean, lucky Jane Campion getting him on board, really.
She's very lucky. So if he doesn't win the Oscar, we'll be quite angry about that, because it's about freaking time he got recognised for how amazing he is. Yeah.
I don't think he could care less, though. I mean, he's very quiet, and he kind of doesn't. He's very shy, and he doesn't like attention. So he probably wouldn't.
He wouldn't like it.
He probably wouldn't like going up on stage and collecting his award.
Maybe not. But we love you, Jonny Greenwood.
Paul Thomas Anderson always kind of jokes about how, how quiet, not just quiet, but how he doesn't want to be involved in the post-filming kind of, advertising and stuff, promo stuff that they have to do.
Well, I guess that makes sense. A lot of geniuses are kind of a bit reclusive, aren't they? One of the best sort of soundtrack artists out there. It was really sad that we lost, what was his name? The guy that did the original.
Johan Johansson.
Yeah, Johan Johansson was another one of my absolute favourite soundtrack designers.
And Mika Levy, who I mentioned before, is probably another one who should be looked at a bit more. Originally Johan Johansson was going to do the score for Blade Runner 2049. He actually did it. He recorded it, but then Hans Zimmer, was it? They got him to replace him because apparently they wanted something more like the original Blade Runner score, which is exactly what Hans Zimmer did. He did a
great job. And he's another person that's been nominated for his June soundtrack.
I worry that he'll win as well. For a number of different reasons, but mainly because he's sort of made such a big deal about how his June score is the most important thing he's ever done, or best soundtrack. And
he's great, but he's like an old white dude. So,
his June score was very good for him. It was quite different.
It was good. It was good for him to take some risks. I mean, and he has some fantastic scores. But it's just, I think it's about time that, with cinematographers and actors and soundtrack creators, I think it's their time to let some younger, fresher people kind of.
And he's probably Jonny Greenwood would be like in his late 40s or 50s or something. So he's not a kid.
Actually. No.
But we'll see.
We'll see. Fingers crossed. Okay. We should discuss the homosexuality / homophobia aspect of this film, because that's been getting a bit of traction. I haven't seen Brokeback Mountain yet, but I think I'll probably really enjoy it. But I think I really respect any film that's willing to kind of tackle the subject of toxic masculinity. And it's interesting because it's set in the 30s, but I would say it's still that kind of toxic masculinity sort of seen in
a lot of ways.
Well, Sam Elliott seems to think that it's still like
Yeah, he had a problem with the homosexuality of the film, which is really a big, I mean, it's what it's about in a lot of ways. So he just kind of proves the point of,
that there is still rampant homophobia around. I mean, I do think that Phil Burbank, despite being so prickly to everyone, he is a character that's desperately seeking a sense of connection with others. He does it very clumsily.
It becomes more apparent later in the film.
Yeah.
After that scene with the pond where Cody's Smit-McPhee's character is kind of spying on him.
Yeah.
And he chases him off, but after that, he kind of, it's almost like he's, I don't know, more interested in him.
Yeah, it's that soft side. It is really sad to think that now and then, at any time, well, not any time of history, because there are some cultures that have always embraced homosexuality and transgenderism and things. But yeah, it's kind of really kind of quite sad to see a character that's had to build up so many walls and had to but sort of put himself across as being so incredibly masculine. And I suppose feels a lot of envy that Peter's allowed to be more effeminate. I mean, by the way he moves. And it seems like there's this idea that because he moves in a more feminine way, which is ridiculous, I don't think there should be masculine or feminine ways of being, that he's somehow more vulnerable and weaker. But actually, in fact, Peter Gordon is the apex predator in this film, which is a beautiful, I love that subversion of the idea of masculinity and of being like, the alpha male or the alpha predator. It's actually this kind of almost giraffe-like young man.
That's like a baby giraffe.
He's like the way he sort of stags around, even though his character's kind of based on a fox. But yeah, I think that's a really interesting subversion of the trope. And I think it's always really good to examine these kind of issues. I didn't have any problem with that aspect of the film. I thought it was well done. I think it was tasteful. Yeah, I don't know, it was a good subject to bring up. It's quite interesting that Cody's character was sort of based on a fox, because foxes can come across as being really cute and they can sort of bond to people.
They're pretty weird.
But they're pretty freaking weird creatures, and they're savage. They're totally savage, and they're really cunning.
Yeah, well, he's very cunning. I mean, that's the most important thing I'd say.
Yeah, his cunningness.
Especially later in the film.
Yes, I would stop now if you don't want to hear one of my own personal spoilers. There's a spoiler here, and this is something I haven't seen anyone else bring up, but it struck me the second time I watched it. I thought, okay, so I'm thinking Peter, it's not the first time he's killed someone that has been cruel to his mother, because it's very vaguely alluded to the father. Peter and Rose's husband, Peter's father. It appears that he may have been an alcoholic, which is, I think, why Peter becomes so incredibly upset when Rose begins drinking, because of how she's treated by Phil Burbank, which is really nasty. He's really got something against her.
He is. Yeah, sorry. I was just going to... I was reminded of that scene with the... where he's kind of taunting her with the banjo. It's almost like a deliverance thing, but it's hilarious. I mean, it's kind of unintentionally so. I don't think it was meant to be so funny.
No. It was funny. We were giggling at that, and yeah,
it shouldn't be, but I think shouldn't be. Funny.
Yeah, but I did think that like Kirsten Dunst's character was just so weak. So she's very much like a little rabbit. And there's actually a rabbit featured in the film, which gets dissected by the lovely Peter.
She just needs to man up.
It's probably not allowed to say that, but yeah, I just thought, wow, it's a tough time to be alive then. She was quite timid for someone living in that era. I would expect you'd have to be pretty freaking tough to survive. But yeah, I just kind of, come on. But anyway, so she's the weak little defenseless little rabbit character, and her son somehow is the sort of fox, and you think, well, maybe it's because the father was quite a predatory person, and yet so he's all upset about Rose drinking, and it sort of alluded to the fact that his father would drink. So I'm thinking that the father hung himself, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking Peter is actually killed before. I don't think it's his first moida. I think that if he was clever enough to get the anthrax from the cattle and put it into the rope and poison, this is all spoilers. So
he's very clever.
He's very clever. Yeah. So he could have easily strung his father up and hung him.
And he's manipulative.
He's very manipulative. So my theory is that Peter killed his father because he was abusive, alcoholic to his mother. And I think I just think it's very feasible that he could have done that. I think that the way that the ease in which he murdered Phil is something that, you know, but basically I think he's a serial killer. At least he's not like a total psychopath or sociopath necessarily, because he really cares for his mother, but the sort of very detached way that he does things, the way that he's studying surgery and dissecting, I think he's got a bit of a serial killer in him.
Well, yeah, they even say that serial killers manifest themselves like earlier on by killing animals. And
yeah. So I think no one's picked up on that. I mean, but the title of the film, Power of the Dog, comes from a psalm, which is it says, "Save my soul from the sword and my darling from the power of the dog." So, you know, he's got this whole big thing about saving his darling, his mother, from the power of the sword.
Boy.
He's a mama's boy, and I think he's killed twice. So that's my little spoiler, my little special take on it. But I don't know, I think that that's an entirely like valid take on Peter. Yeah. And I think that's neat because then you kind of get it into being a bit of a horror. It's sort of about a serial killer that we're all rooting for. Notice that we're all rooting for.
The ending really is my favourite part of the narrative. Yeah.
And I think if you're not watching closely, it's quite unexpected, and you're kind of like, how did he die? I mean, it's quite clear if you're really watching closely or watch it again. But yeah, I mean, he's pretty clever with the way, and it's clever how it's shot because it's not giving away that he's learning how to ride a horse so he can go out and find an anthrax beast, and he puts the gloves on and he gets the poisoned flesh out, and then there's just all these little circumstances where he's just waiting for his time to pounce. He's like a fox, he's just waiting, and then he jumps when the time comes. But I mean, I suppose we should probably rate it now.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna each give it from 0 to 5 hearts, and then we'll add them together out of 10. So we'll give our half and half.
Shit, I haven't even thought about this, but you go first.
Okay, well, you think about it while okay, so I'm giving it. I feel really bad because this is a New Zealand film. Okay, I'm just gonna say.
Don't worry about it.
I'll give it like 2.5 stars.
2.5.
Yeah, because I love the cinematography and I love Johnny Greenwood's score, and I thought Cody was great. So it's like 2.5. I mean, I feel like I should give it 3, but I'm not that. I mean, it's better than average. Okay, I'll give it 3. I'll give it 3.
3. Okay.
Giving it 3.
So I'll give it 4.
Oh wow.
I mean, I probably wouldn't, but I think it deserves 7 out of 10.
It does deserve 7 out of 10.
I think that's a good number. Anything above or less would probably be a bit.
Yeah.
Wouldn't work.
I tend to like go all out when I really like something and go like completely the opposite when I don't like something. So I think a 3 is very generous. But I do want to say, you know, like mad respect to Jane Campion. You know, she's a great director. I'm glad she's, you know, continuing to make wonderful films.
It's been like a decade since she made a film. She made Top of the Lake, but which was
it was a TV show. I can't get through it, sorry.
Yeah. She's made some great other films. I still need to see Sweetie, her first film.
But, that should be interesting.
But An Angel at My Table.
That's the most depressing movie ever, but it is very good. So good on you, Jane Campion. You made another cracker, more or less. And yeah, I guess we'll look forward to the Oscars, and if we don't see Johnny Greenwood and Cody getting those awards, and Ari Wegner, we're gonna come after you.
Gonna cause some shit.
Gonna cause some mayhem.
Okay.